Hello, welcome. Thank you for being here. My name is Gary. I have over 20 years of IT experience, and today in this video, I want to talk about why most people fail at starting an IT career and how you can succeed. Let's get started. You know that feeling when you're scrolling through your phone and you're seeing another tech professional posting about their $150,000 salary? Meanwhile, you're stuck wondering if you missed a boat on the whole IT revolution thing. Trust me, I've been there, and after over 20 years in the industry, I'm here to tell you something that might surprise you. Here's the kicker. You don't need to be some coding wizard who's been programming since the age of 12 to make it in the tech industry. I know because I started from absolute zero, and now I've worked on everything from US Air Force systems to medical device manufacturing in Italy and Mexico. I've worked in the financial sector, in home building vertical, and many more. And that kind of makes sense when you consider that every business needs some form of IT, which means if you build a skill set around IT, you're afforded great flexibility in the business vertical you decide to pursue. The hidden truth about today's tech industry that nobody is telling you. Let me tell you something that might sound a little crazy in 2025. That standard advice about just learn to code, bro, that everyone has been pushing. It's actually hurting more people than it's helping. I see it all the time. Talented individuals giving up on their tech dreams because they struggle with Python or JavaScript, C++, or whatever the coding language is. I remember working two dead-end jobs before I found my path in IT. Now look, it was honest work for honest pay, but my ability to progress was limited and I was easily replaceable. When I was 18, I was bussing tables and slinging pizza and just making enough to get by. And that was with a bunch of roommates in the 90s. One morning, I was bussing tables, and by the end of that year, I was working on military tech systems. The transformation wasn't because I suddenly became a coding genius. It was because I understood something crucial about the industry. Let me break down three biggest misconceptions that keep talented people like you out of the tech industry. One, you need a computer science degree. I don't have one. What you actually need? Experience, networking, and a certification wouldn't hurt. But how do you get experience? We'll get back to that. Two, you have to be a math whiz. Basic math is enough for many roles in the IT industry. Now, this one's hilarious to me for many reasons. A couple weeks ago, my 20-year-old son calls me for guidance on what direction he should go for an IT role. He says, "Yeah, but Dad, don't I need to be a math whiz? And really, I need a degree in mathematics." Now, the reason why this is hilarious is because, first off, Ezra was a math whiz in high school. He got straight A's in math, he's on honors math, all that good stuff. It's one of his many strong suits. And second, we have this thing called the internet. I mean, it's great if you can break down IP subnetting in your head, but in practical, everyday working terms, you would simply find the best tool for you to break down the subnet for you accurately and to do whatever complex mathematical equations was necessary. Now, I'll admit, when I was learning binary and subnetting, it was actually pretty cool. And if you're going for a cert, it may require you to be able to do that to pass the cert, then by all means. But my point remains. So many career fields within IT do not require exceptional math skills. And number three, programming is the only way in. There are literally thousands of other paths. And here's why 2025 is actually the perfect time to break in. While everyone's freaking out about AI taking jobs, they're missing the massive potential opportunities. AI is creating more tech jobs than it's eliminating. We need people to manage, implement, and oversee all these systems. So here's a not so super secret IT career map nobody's talking about. But before I get to that, let's take a step back and address how do we get experience. Okay, story time. It's 1991. I'm a lowly one striper in the Air Force working in our small hospital inside of medical records. I was smart to go on delayed enlistment to ensure I got the job I wanted, which was administration work inside of a hospital. So my thoughts at 19 were, when I get out of the military in 4 years, I can get a job in a hospital anywhere in the US because every major city is going to have multiple hospitals. I went into administration work because it allowed me to work anywhere within the hospital. The problem when I got stationed and started doing the work is that a lieutenant colonel in the hospital wouldn't let me out of medical records because it was running too smoothly. Worse yet, I wanted to get into tech, but that would mean re-enlisting for an additional 2 years, going to a new tech school, and then redeploying to another base, none of which I wanted to do. So, how did I get my tech experience? First, the base had a lot of military guys around my age that were in tech. We were all hanging out together all the time. So I was in an environment around a bunch of tech people. And then, second, we had a small tech team of 3 dedicated to the hospital. I was able to make friends with the Master Sergeant Doug, that ran the tech section for the hospital. And I told Doug about my interest in tech. So while I would be working on computers, Doug hit me to the Beatles, which led me down a old time rock and roll path of Jimi Hendrix, CCR, and all these others. Musical adventures aside, the point is I made it a point to learn as much as I could about the tech industry while I was on base, even though that wasn't my role. So I just asked Doug straight out, hire me into that tech team in the hospital, which he said, nope, that's not possible. It's a small team and I wasn't qualified, which was all true. But then I asked a follow up question. Hey, Doug, if there ever was an opportunity to hire me onto the team, would you do it? And he said, man, I would love to have you on the team. Eventually, I started helping out other tech folks that had to come all the way over from the other side of the base. I made friends with them, and anytime they would come over to work on something tech related, they would let me shadow them until eventually some of them would just call me directly and ask me to do them favors and take care of something tech related in the hospital so that they wouldn't have to do the 20-minute trek walkover. And this was great. I was learning a ton, but I wasn't actually doing the job. Total bummer. That is until one day, one of the tech guys in the hospital decided to steal from the on base store the PX. It was pretty unbelievable because it freed up the exact position that I wanted. And again, to get qualified, I would need to cross train, which means getting my orders cut for another base and leaving. It was basically impossible. Another total bummer. That is until one day I went to my first shirt, a really smooth Billy D. Williams cat, and I said, hey, shirt, you gotta get me into that IT role. To which he implied, it just ain't possible. You're not trained for it. But shirt, I really need to get out of medical records, and Doug has already said he wants me for the job if we can find a way to make it happen. So my smooth first sergeant leaned back in his chair and a massive grin grew upon his face. You know, Gary, I'm retiring in 2 weeks, he said. I'm really good friends with the base commander, and I can't stand that lieutenant colonel. He had much more colorful language, but we'll keep it at that. A couple days later, my lieutenant colonel pulled me aside and screamed in my face for 20 minutes, telling me how unprofessional I was and that it was horrible for me to go around her and behind her back. And after that scream fest was over, I was placed into IT. So, how do you get experience? You make it, create it. When I first started out, I bought an old used computer. I tore it down, built it back together at least a dozen times. I knew absolutely every component in that computer. I did volunteer work. You can volunteer for charities, schools, find a small local community and check in with their local library, their community college, or whatever to just volunteer some IT work. You're going to get some solid experience under your belt while also networking and giving back to the local community. And you can absolutely put this experience on a resume. Okay, back to the not so secret IT career roadmap that nobody's talking about. Let's talk about something that literally changed my life: understanding the 4 main personality types in IT. Now, there's, of course, a lot more personality types. I'm simply breaking it down to kind of 4 generalist personality types. Are you an introvert who loves solving puzzles? Cybersecurity or systems analysis might be a sweet spot for you. Are you more of a are you more of an extrovert who loves explaining really complex things? Maybe you'd want to get into tech sales or solution architecture. Either one of those could be an absolute gold mine for you. And you know what's wild? Those skills you think are useless in tech, they're actually your secret weapons. Let me give you some real examples. Great at customer service, DevOps teams are desperate for people who can communicate effectively, especially if you can take complex technical jargon and simplify it into terms that a business stakeholder can better understand. This gives the stakeholder an opportunity to make a better informed business decision. Do you have a sales background? Technical account management roles are very fruitful. How about project management experience? Agile teams need you desperately. This might be the type of thing where you seek a certain ITIL or something similar and then apply your learned knowledge to the tech industry. The hidden IT specialties are where the real opportunities lie. While everyone's fighting for programming jobs, positions in cloud infrastructure, business analysis, and tech project management are sitting there with fewer applicants and sometimes even higher salaries. Now, one thing I'm making available right now completely for free, I just built an IT tool. What did I call this? The IT Career Advisor. You know what? Let's just do a share screen. I'm just going to show it to you. An AI tool that evaluates your skills, experience, and goals to recommend personalized career paths and professional development opportunities in the IT field. I like to test different AI tools, and this is something that I really wish I would have had when I was on the outside looking in, trying to figure things out. What's the path? How do I do it? How do I get there? So let's try it out. And as it loads, we can see I created 3 different prompts just to help get you started. So this first one, what IT roles align best with my personality and what certifications should I consider for a successful transition? So I'll just click that and it's going to load up that prompt into the AI for me and just run it. And here's some information that it gave back. So first of all, to provide you with personalized advice, I'd like to understand your personality traits and current work experience better. However, I can give you a general overview of how different personality types align with IT roles. So let's just say I let it know that I'm an introvert with some project management skills. What career path and certs align? As an introvert with PM skills, you have a unique set of strengths that can be highly valuable in various IT roles. Introverts often excel in roles that allow for focused work and require strong analytical thinking, problem solving, and organizational skills. Considering your PM background, here are some IT career paths and certs that align well with your profile. And here it just runs it right down. Number 1, PM and IT, business analyst, cybersecurity analyst, IT coordinator, and here are some suggested certs. So let's say I look at this first one and this CompTIA Project Plus. Let me copy that to the clipboard and just say, tell me more about the CompTIA Project. Well, I missed the plus. I trained up this AI a little bit on current certs that are available in the industry to help get you some ideas and concept and help you narrow down your path to IT success. And so here we can see exactly what it's telling us. CompTIA Project Plus is an entry-level PM cert that validates your ability to manage small to medium-sized projects effectively. Here are some of the key details. It really goes into some nice details here. If you like this, if it's helpful, please let me know. So that's it for our AI IT career builder. Let's keep going. We're almost done with this video. I got a couple more golden nuggets for you, so stick around. Let's break down a little bit about salaries just to get an idea. In 2025, entry-level cloud support roles are starting at about $65K, while more senior solution architects are pulling in 180 plus. And that's not including bonuses, stock options, whatever else may be available in some of these companies. Although I will say for most of you just getting started, why apply for jobs with these massive companies that have all this competition? If you're just starting out, consider looking at small and mid-sized companies that are growing or poised for future growth. You'll end up gaining an absolute ton of experience while being able to assist the company on its upward path. Transform your life. The real benefits of an IT career in 2025. Let me tell you about the real game changers in my life since switching to IT. Sure, money is great, but I also really enjoy working here from my home office that I built for myself, or having the flexibility to pick my kids up from school because their school's right down the street. Now, that's the kind of work-life balance that was impossible in my previous jobs before I got into IT. I like to call it the IT skill stacking advantage. Here's what I mean. When I combined my military background with basic tech knowledge, I landed contractor jobs that allowed me to grow my network while also gaining IT experience in multiple business sectors. So when I got out of the Air Force with my IT skills and knowledge, I didn't immediately try to find work at the biggest, greatest companies on the planet. Instead, what I did was I looked for 6 to 12 month contracts in the local area that I was in. And what that allowed for was for me to, one, network with a bunch of different IT people. Two, it allowed me to learn different skill sets. I wasn't always doing the same thing in IT. Three, it let me learn different industries. As I do these jobs, some of them for as short as 3 months, I would still get all that networking with all these other individuals and seeing how IT worked in different business verticals. And it also afforded me the opportunity to work with multiple different scale companies, some very small, some very large, just kind of depended on what the contract required. And the best part, while several traditional industries are shrinking, IT continues to expand globally. Every company is becoming a tech company, whether they're selling shoes or shipping containers. They all need IT professionals and not just programmers. Head over to that AI IT career advisor I created and go see what you can extract from that can help create a path forward for you. As you can see by what I shared, you can tell that AI your personality type, your existing skills, and it's going to help map out that certification path for you. And it's completely free. It's on the house. Now, here's the thing, guys. Don't wait for the perfect time to take action. It's already here. It's right now. This video can help get you started, but you really need to take action and go find a good path forward for yourself. Remember, the tech industry needs people like you with fresh perspectives. I'll see you in the next video, and don't forget to stay blessed, my friends.